just damn good. Cause baby, I feel real good and I wish I would. It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good. Everybody watch out. Watch out now. I'm ready for a good time, and I came to groove. The whole band's here, and we came to move. Got a fresh haircut and 2 new shoes. We're here all night like we got nothing to lose. Coming out the jacket, cause we're turning up the heat.
Howdy, I love that intro, Marcus.
Listen, I was dancing.
You're ready for a good time.
Always, Greener, always.
Great to see you, man. I haven't seen you in like, I don't know, 45 minutes.
Yeah, a couple seconds. It's great.
Okay, what stadium are you at now?
This is Schalke.
Schalke?
No, I have no idea.
How did you get there? I thought there was quarantine.
Listen, I got people. I know important people, you know?
Yeah, I can tell. Say, Marcus, listen, it was a great show last week. You've had lots of feedback from people. I think about 1,500 people checked the show out in the first couple of days, which is pretty good, you know? But our goal is to make this the best soccer podcast talk show in the world for coaches who really care and want to find out something different. We try to do a different show. We don't want to be, 2 people just talking about the regular things. We try to discuss different things. But before we do, Marcus, how was your weekend? What did you do this week? Tell me, catch our fans up with what was going on in the Di Bernardo life this week.
Di Bernardo life is always hectic. It was awesome, though. We did. I worked on a new course. Well, it's an old course, but I put my course, cognitive soccer coaching course, on the Kajabi platform. So it's awesome now. It's got videos, it's got PDF files, it's got Zoom sessions with me. So that took a lot of time, and at the same time, I did.
So is this the course right here? The outline for the course?
Yeah, that's my methodology. That's infographic about the course, and then along with the coursework this week, I was hard working on the team because our season starts early April. So we're really pushing to get guys fit right now, and it's a slow process getting everyone fit after COVID, but it's going well. How about yourself, Greener? What were you up to?
Well, I had a great week. I had unbelievable week. Ups and downs. There was a tough thing happened near the end of the week. You know what I'm talking about. We had lost one of our former players, and we're going to get into that next week in the show. But Marcus, my week, I had the best time ever. I was invited by Shelbourne Football Club in Ireland, one of the top clubs there. And Graham Ramsey invited me, and Stephen Henderson, who's the director of the coaching of the academy, they invited me. We had about 25 coaches there, and I was supposed to talk for about an hour. It was a Zoom coach education Q&A, and it lasted about an hour and a half. It was just fantastic. Hey, big shout out to Shelbourne Football Club. They're doing it right. They've got dedicated coaches out there, and I had a blast doing that. That was great. And what else was I up to this week? Well, one of the things that they asked me about, and I get this a lot of times, I'm sure you do, if you give a couple of tips, 2 or 3 tips to a coach through all your experiences that you have, they asked me what 3 pieces of advice would you give coaches? And, the first thing I said to them was, above all, look after yourself. Above all, you've got to stay healthy. And it might sound an obvious thing, but it's not. And it's because so many people, if you're a coach, are dependent on you, not just the players who are wearing those jerseys, but it could be, your children, your wife, your family. Everybody's dependent on you. And it's so easy, Marcus, don't you feel that when you're into it, when you're really into coaching, that becomes kind of your second priority?
Listen, Greener, I'll say this: coaching could become addictive. You know what I'm saying? And it's what you're about, and you do forget about yourself sometimes. And I always found in the off season, where as I came back, I said, "Oh my God, I haven't worked out in 3 months, and I have to get back into a routine." It's interesting.
Well, don't you think that overall people have a shitty relationship with time? The way how they designate their time. My philosophy, and this is what I was talking to the coaches in Shelbourne about, is that, I think the biggest misconception that we have in our lives is that we assume we're going to live to 80.
Yeah.
And so all your assumptions, it's like saying you got $100, right? and you spend 10, you say, it's all right, still got another 90, so I'll spend 15, I'll do this and that. But there's no guarantee you're going to reach that age. It could be tomorrow.
I tell you what, if you ever watch Vince Lombardi, one of the greatest American football coaches, and his family talk about it, and it was, Lombardi was one of our greatest coaches, but it was a sad story because he said the only time he could fully be present with his family was right after they played the game on Sunday afternoon. He would give the family 3 hours, and that was it. Then he was back to work, and he wouldn't really see anybody again till the following Sunday. And that's probably not so healthy, But
at my university where I worked, they had a new football coach, and for the first 3 weeks, he took a mattress into work and put it in his office and slept there. He was there 24/7.
Yeah.
But I think that no matter how passionate we are about football, I think the art or the key to life is finding that balance, though, isn't it? Where I used to live before I moved into my new home. Across the street from me was another university professor who worked at the university I worked at. He was an older guy, gray hair, and I would see him at 4:30 every day coming home, and he would walk over to this tree, a small tree in his garden, and he would stroke it, and then he'd go in the house. And I'm thinking, what the hell's this guy doing?
Yeah.
And then I've seen him do it many times.
Yeah.
And then one day I'm in the cafeteria and I saw him, so I sat down and introduced myself. I said, look, I'm the soccer coach. Do you mind if I have lunch with you? And he said, no, sit down. I said, well, I actually live across from you. I said, I've seen you on many occasions walk up to that tree. It looks like you're stroking it, with his hand before he went. And I says, what are you doing? He says, well, he uses it as a metaphor. Before he goes in the house to his wife, he's actually symbolically hanging up his work, hanging up his problems of that day, any frustrations he's got. And then he leaves them outside the house. And he'll take them out. He'll take them back to school on his way out. Great metaphor, though.
Listen, how amazing is that? It's really true. I mean, I'm sure you've pulled into your driveway many a times after a game, and it's not easy to switch off.
Hey, Marcus, we're losing your audio a little bit. Can you move a little bit closer to the mic?
It's not easy to switch off. It's not easy.
Yeah, especially for people who are crazy. Oh, another thing happened to me. I got a couple of great things. Well, you know how crazy first of all, I got a great email the other day from the Soccer Coach TV fans in Italy. You know that a lot of Victoria's Secrets models and guy models, too, are fans of Soccer Coach TV. So they just, they sent in beautiful-looking people, aren't they? He'd make a good centre back, this guy. And Marcus, what a huge fan I am of NASA, right? And this Mars mission, we talk about that all the time.
Of course.
I was so excited when I saw, the latest pictures that come through from the moon, the Mars landing, and it's just inspiring for everybody in football. When you see what the priorities they've got right here in NASA, how could you not support them? Right? Absolutely fantastic. Well, Marcus, we're going to do a few segments, and some of them might be regular segments in the show, and we'll see how they go. We're just trying innovative stuff that nobody's doing, correct?
Okay, I'm in.
You're all in? Okay. Well, listen, I've got a great guest. I'm sure you might have heard of him. Have you heard of Juan?
Haven't heard of Juan, no.
Yeah, I mean, I've been friends with Juan a long time. He's a great guy. He's going to ask you the first questions. This segment that we're going to be doing is going to be called Underrated or Overrated. Are you up for a challenge?
Oh, I'm ready.
Are you sure? So we're going to think about different topics for you to tell us straight off the bat. Do you think that topic is underrated or overrated? So I'm going to play a little intro and I'm going to introduce Juan. He's a great guy. Overrated, underrated. So, without much further ado, bring in Juan, see how he's doing.
All right, I'm excited.
Hey, Juan. Ole, 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 Soccer Coach TV. Ole, 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 ole. Get in there, son. Soccer Coach TV. Coach TV.
You're always surprising me, Green.
Hey, Juan. So you're gonna ask Marcus.
Yeah, I've got a question for Marcus.
Okay. Sounds like me too, doesn't he?
Hey,
Yeah.
Marcus.
Yes.
Do you think Pele was the best soccer player in the world?
Wait, hold on up for Marcus. So he's giving you the first question. Underrated or overrated? Was Pele overrated or underrated? And give me your.
That's a tough one. It's in a different area, but I mean, different era of time. I'm gonna say underrated. He's underrated. He's the man. I can't ever say he's overrated because he's the man.
Okay. Why do you think he's underrated?
Well, I think that if I ever say he was overrated, it just wouldn't fit this. It just wouldn't fit. It would sound weird coming out of my mouth. Pele's overrated.
All right. Well, let me tell you something. Yeah, and plus half the world's going to hate you if you say he's
All my Brazilians will immediately right. I'll be in trouble.
But I watched the documentary the other day, 1955 documentary, the 1958 World Cup. Right, it was just young. I think what was he 16 then?
He was young, yes.
Yeah, he was 16 when he went in there. Phenomenal. But remember, at the time in Brazil, there was a lot of unrest, and they were looking for a hero. And he had a tremendous amount of talent, but when I watched the goals that he scored in that World Cup, if my under 14 team made those mistakes defensively, I would be going crazy. Let's be clear about this, Marcus. No way was it defending as intense and as good as it then as it was today. So did that help him a little bit?
I mean, I think absolutely. Like during the time period, though, you have to say when I look at Pele, his skill set's amazing. His athleticism is amazing. If he grew up now, I think he still would be one of the best ever to play the game. It's just hard to compare.
Oh, well, David Courtney will disagree with you. He thinks he's overrated. I'm leaning towards that way myself, David. I'm in two minds. I would think that. I mean, look at the training and all the different aspects of the games that professional players like Ronaldo get now and Messi, sports psychologists, nutritionists, the dedicated physicians to them, state-of-the-art facilities, data analysis of their games. Come on. Does Pele compare with Ronaldo?
Here's what I would say. If you had asked me Neymar, I would say overrated big time. I think Pele's the real deal.
All right. Well, we're going to leave you at that one, and we'll see what some of our fans says. Definitely, we've got here Brandon Kidd. Pele was a people's player. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
It certainly changed the game in the US, didn't he?
Listen, he's an amazing guy too. Amazing guy.
Would soccer have took off if Pele didn't come to the US?
Slower.
Okay.
Probably slower.
All right. Next one up. Are you ready? Systems of play, Marcus.
Oof.
Are systems of play, are they overrated? Hold on 1 second, son. Let me just do one thing here. Systems of play, are they overrated or are they underrated?
I'm going to say systems of play, 100% overrated.
Why do you say that?
Well, Greener, here's the thing. We start off the game in one formation that you could probably recognize, but that turns into a multitude of other formations as the game goes on in all the transitions of the game. The difference between formations is only about 5 to 10 yards in positioning per player. So for me, I would rather have really intelligent players than a system that I think is superior.
Just let them play?
No. Give them a flexible game model that they can make their own decisions in, but they're still under a general structure. I think your dog is disagreeing with me, Greener. But I would say, definitely not just let them play, but it's too overrated about this system versus that system, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you know what? There's no system that's ever been invented in the history of football that will compensate for bad passing, right? Yeah. The inability to strike a ball over a variety of differences, the ability to defend one-on-one, right? The ability to win the ball in the air in a challenge. Hey, not just that. Give me a system that will install a passion in you to work like crazy. Yeah. It's not, if you don't have it in you, So yeah, I definitely believe systems and tactics are overrated. When I look at my whole career as a coach, I would say I won a lot of fewer games based on my tactics than some individual player just taking the ball and banging it in the back of the net.
Yeah, yeah,
Would you agree with that?
I 100% agree with that.
And if they've got better players and I've got better tactics, they're still going to beat me most of the time.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, the one thing I would say about formations is, if you're going to park the bus, it is a lot easier to do and be effective at compared to opening up the field. And we see this a lot in modern day soccer of, it's very interesting right now to me to watch the trends that are going on.
How many times have you, in your career, going back to high school, have you went out there and tried to park the bus, just sit in, it's their problem, let them come to us. You concede in the first 5 minutes and your game plan's right out the shitter.
Yeah. And if you don't have speed, what's the point of sitting back anyways? You're pretty much not going to get in.
Okay. Rondos. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about rondos. Are rondos overrated or underrated?
Well, Greener, I'm like the rondo king here. So I am going to say that they are underrated. I think rondos are so important for players to figure out solutions in small spaces. I don't care if they have a direction, no direction. I don't care if they have goals. I think all rondos are really, really important for game intelligence.
Good. Well, I think it depends. I mean, rondos have been around for decades. You understand that, right?
Yeah.
Now, when I grew up, we'd get in a circle and keep the ball, put somebody in the middle. They're nothing new. What is new is that they become more directional, didn't they?
Directional, multiple defense. Like there's so many variables in rondos now. And again, for me, it's about solutions in small areas. And that transfers right over to the 11v11.
Okay, Marcus, your audio is going out a little bit when you lean backwards. So
okay,
I think we can sort that out, in a future show. But for now, we're gonna have to keep an eye on that so that the audience can hear us. Listen, we're going to touch base with the audience in a little bit. Yeah, people who have tuned in, but we just want to round off a couple of things. For rondos, this is my problem with rondos. Okay, I see coaches. The first thing they do, maybe even before they stretch, a lot of them, they play rondos for 10 minutes. And if you've only got practice for an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and a half, 10 minutes is a valuable amount of time. I don't think there's a need to do a rondo unless it's got a specific purpose or it's varied every single time. But I've seen coaches do the same rondo drill every practice right before practice is just routine.
Yeah, I would say doing the same rondo drill, I mean, it's going to lose its benefits. But I would also say it's a lot of really good, even game model specific positional rondos. And if we're talking about youth coaches, 4v4, 7v7, 9v9 game models, it's a real valuable way to teach that game model for their age group.
Yeah. Hey, we've got a guest coach coming in later on. He's right here in the green room in the studio, Kulain Wood from Manchester, England. So Kulain will be with you pretty shortly. He's an exciting coach. I'll get into it when the segment comes up. Absolutely inspiring as a coach and a poet. But we talk about him. Marcus, you asked me yesterday if I would talk. You know how passionate I am about team building.
Yes.
So you asked me to talk a little bit about team building today, which we would. And, team building, I think, is probably the most important thing on a coach's list to start off with. You can't have a team without a good culture, and you've got to develop that culture, and you do that through team building. I'm just going to show you a little bit of video here, and I'm going to explain some stuff as I go along. The first video that I'm going to show you is just, for me, a coach brightens up the room every time he walks into it. For me, a coach has to change the mood of a practice if it's not going right. He has to look at his team and he has to find out, all right, he has to identify pretty quickly, whether it's a 10-year-old team or a pro team, what are the characteristics of that team? What is that team lacking in terms of characteristics? And it could be many to choose from, and come up with a game plan to solve that. But the core principle through everything I believe in football and coaching and team building is that it's got to be fun. Everything I do when I step on the field is fun. And I would ask yourself as a coach, and if you record your training sessions and do it regularly, just take a look and how many smiles are there? How many times are they laughing? Are you making it fun? This is a game. The Football Association invented this sport because it's a game and it's got to be enjoyed. But I'm just going to show you a quick video, and we're going to talk about one or two aspects of team building. And the thing I want you to notice on this video, Marcus, is that team building can be done anywhere. It can be done in a classroom. It can be done on a field. It can be done in a swimming pool. It could be done in the movie theater. It could be done, any way you want. But to take a look, it's about 2 minutes long. Oh, sorry, wrong one. So, as you know, I mean, the ultimate goal is to win. And look at the different components. You got success, friendship, care, pride, courage, all these components that you have to consider as a coach, regardless of the ability of the team. Starts off with the coaches, the coaching staff. But remember, you've got about, in a squad of, let's say, you have a squad of 20 players in a team and then 19 relationships. You're talking about this 380 different relationships within a squad, Marcus. Every single practice, I'll do something. On the room, on the field, classroom.
I get caught up in emotions. In my head, I got explosions. Now I'm drinking these mimosas every day. Yeah. Now I'm going to extremes. Every time I get these feelings. Who's got the amphetamines? Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm spiraling down to the ground. Like lost and I'll never be found. Then I just see you around. You changed the mood. When you're walking with a smile, yes you do. I haven't been happy for a while. To be honest, I've been a mess. Moving all my feelings around like chess. But you changed the I can't even try to explain how you hit me like a hurricane. Now I'm sipping on champagne every day. We're spiraling down to the ground, lost and I couldn't be found. But then I just saw your face. You changed the mood. When you're walking with a smile, yes you do. I haven't been happy for a while. To be honest, I've been a mess. Moving all my feelings around like chess. But you changed the mood. You changed the
I'm just going to show you another quick. This is my favorite. One of my favorite. Let's just 1 second, Marcus. So, Marcus, this is one of my favorite team building. Everything to be done to this point has been team building. Everything. You're a team. I'm telling you right now, you are, in the truest definition, have become one of the quickest teams that I've ever had in the history of coaching here. The video's not going. The way you've gelled together so quickly, the personalities, how you supported each other, you're absolutely a team. Okay? Let me just talk about two things right here. Give you an example, and I love this example right here. Who's the strongest? One, we come on out of here, son. Do this real quick. 12 pencils in this box.
Oh, easy. Drew can do it.
Takes the first pencil, break it in two, show me those weights.
I need one for school though.
Okay. You can't use any. Take 11 pencils. There's 11 pencils in my hand. Try and break it.
You won't.
Do it! Go on, Steve! Go on, son!
The point is obvious, isn't it, eh? The point is, if we're going to play as individuals, we're weak. If we're going to play as 11 guys on this team, Nico, nothing can break us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nothing can break us if we're playing as 11. You are a team, man. You're strong. The strength comes in us as numbers. So the analogy there, I mean, whenever you can use a situation or a topic to create an analogy for the team, it makes it pretty clear. But that game there was right before the final match before the end of the season.
I remember that team. Great team.
So listen, one of the biggest things in team building is trust in any relationship, don't you think?
Yeah, of course.
And it's an incredibly hard thing to earn. And it's a very simple thing to lose. You know, you have to work hard for somebody's trust, your teammates' trust, your coach's trust, and vice versa, you know? And it's like respect. I mean, you don't demand respect from your players. You have to earn that every time you step on the field, every time you have a conversation with a player, every time you make a decision as coach. But trust is a very important one. And some of the exercises I've done in the past with trust is, for example, here, this, you ask him, why has he got a penny over his eyes? So in that exercise, I had like a relay with two teams. So the first guy had to put a penny on so you couldn't see. And we put all these objects on the field, you know, cones and benches and everything. And he had to maneuver get to the other side of this obstacle course while he was blindfolded. Obviously, you can't just run. He had to rely on his partner, who was his eyes.
Yeah.
So you had the blindfold on. I would say, Marcus, you know, go forward, turn left, turn right. And if you didn't, you're going to get some sore shins walking into the bench. But you had to rely totally. You had to trust me. Everything I said to you, you had to trust. That was a little exercise on trust. I think one of the funnest exercise and one of the really one that proved successful was one year pre-season. I got an anagram printed on the back of every practice jersey, and it was WGHH. We got high hopes. That's what it meant. Okay, we got high hopes, but it was WGHH. We got printed on the back of the jersey, and when we handed out the jerseys in the locker room, I told every player and staff that the only people who were allowed to know what that meant were the people in that room. You couldn't share that with your girlfriend. You couldn't share that with your wife. You couldn't share that with a professor, anybody around campus who asks you. It was an exercise on, hey, can we trust each other? And we went the entire season, to my knowledge, without sharing that with anybody. What is in the locker room stays in the locker room.
Yeah.
But it was just a great exercise. And, you know, it become fun for the kids, really, because people would come up and say, hey, what does that mean? Sorry, I can't tell you.
Yeah.
We'd have to kill you first, you know. Yeah. Simple exercise in trust. But listen, if you go to Soccer Coach TV, Marcus, you know there's tons and tons of stuff there on team building, which I think coaches will love. And there's also on my Facebook page, if you scroll down some of the posts, I put a PDF there with some of the best team building exercises that you can use. Marcus, I tell you what I love about you.
Oh God!
Okay. What I love about you is that your creativity, man. We talk every night on the phone, and every night it's a different idea. Every night we try to find different solutions. But you really have great creativity, man. I'm so blessed that you know, you're on the show with me, and we have such a great friendship. I just thought I'd drop you a couple of hearts.
Thanks, man.
Okay. Hey, listen, let's move forward. We got another segment coming up, and it's called Around the World with Soccer Coach TV, and we're going to bring on our guest, which is Coolin, and he's from Manchester, England. We're going to find out exactly. We're going to meet Coolin and see what he's up to. And Coolin is right in here. Hey, Coolin, how are you, my friend?
How you doing, lads? You okay?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing good.
To see you.
Hey, listen,
Good to see you.
thank you for coming on the show. I just got to, how's things in Manchester? You got snow out there?
Do you know what? Today we've had a beautiful day. Spring has sprung. It's been glorious sunshine over in Manchester. It always is.
What's the situation there with the lockdown? You guys training?
Grassroots footballers from across the nation. It's time to turn off the Xbox and the PlayStation.
1 second.
There's not much longer to wait. At last.
I am going to try this. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get to that in a second. Colin, you're a Reds fan, right? You're not a City fan. You're a Reds fan?
Yeah, I'm a United fan. Yeah, there's a bit of optimism because we can start training from the start of April. So Grassroots football comes back on the 29th of March, which is a Monday, and then our club, Hyde United, will be back probably that week, so the following week, and then we've got our first fixture for my team, the under-15s, scheduled for the 11th of April. So and then we've just had an email today actually to say that the league's going to be extended till the end of June. So we're going to be able to get everything finished, which is great. I mean, we've only played 5 league games from September to now. So we know there's a lot of catching up to do.
How would you describe yourself as a coach?
Oh, I don't know. Do you know what? I'd probably say quite loud and enthusiastic. I love it. It's literally my life. I've coached the group of lads that I've coached have changed over the last sort of 10 years. But there's a few players that have been the core of that team, and I've had them since they were babies, under 6s, and we're now an under 15s team.
You want to hear true story?
True story.
Yeah.
Go on.
God and the devil had this big argument one time, and they were arguing over football. And devil said to the God, "Why don't we play a football match and we decide who's the most powerful being in the world?" And God said, "Are you crazy?" He says, all the best footballers, when they die, go straight up to heaven. And the ref says, "Yeah." I mean, the devil says, "Yeah, but we got all the refs."
Slow burner. It was a slow burner, that one.
I'm a little.
Hey, I should charge you. I charge you too for quality jokes like that, man. You'll be telling that. You'll be telling that down in a couple of weeks from now. Listen, Marcus, I tell you why I was inspired by Cullen. I saw this video online on Facebook, and I shared it onto my feed on Facebook. It was so authentic. It was so creative. And we're all about creativity, right? And we're just going to play it first, and then we're going to have Cullen just explain a little bit about it. It's unbelievable.
Their combs and replying to the messages on their phone. Grassroots footballers from across the nation. It's time to turn off the Xbox and the PlayStation. There's not much longer to wait. At last, we have a date. The coaches are dusting off their combs and replying to the messages on their phones from the parents who just can't believe their eyes, of the kids who've gone up at least one boot size since they last managed to get onto the grass or the AstroTurf and played a pass to their pal, their friend, someone on their team, a different kid with the same dream. Football. It's been a while, and one and all, we need a smile. Mums and dads standing in the rain will never again ever complain about the early starts and the muddy socks, or on a 4G pitch it's those little black dots that seem to get absolutely everywhere. Down the sofa, in your hair. We can't wait to kick it, to head it, to score. We don't even need to win it. We'll lose, we'll draw, we'll bump fists before kick-off and try not to see red. We'll never take our kit off, we'll wear it to bed. Let's get back to water bottles, back to chasing subs, because there's more than the players to grassroots clubs. They mean so much to their communities, and even with their underfunded amenities and absolute lack of facilities, they make do, they survive, and they let the kids play. So this time when it's back, let's hope it's here to stay. We want to be tying laces and to see smiling faces from Penrith to Penzance. We want to lose brand new balls over garden walls and then ask if there's any chance. If we can have our ball back, give us our game back. We've been waiting for so long, but the love of this game is unbreakable, and the game we all love is so strong. Players, coaches, parents, refs, volunteers from all walks of life. Wash the bibs and tell the kids, tell your husband, tell your wife. It won't be long now, we're nearly there. Girls teams, lads teams, everywhere. Remember just how much you love this game. It's coming home, it's coming back, and it will be the same, exactly the same as it was before. The ripple of the net and the sound of the roar from your biggest fans, sat up in the stands, or at least standing behind the respect line. So get ready for the text about what happens next, just as I, patiently, expect mine. From our chairman, the league, the local FA, who've been praying and pacing, waiting for this day when they have the authority to be able to say, write it on the WhatsApp, engrave it on a trophy's plaque. The grassroots we've all missed, that grassroots is back.
That was awesome, dude.
Thanks, man. Awesome. Thank you.
That was absolutely incredible, Cullen. Cullen, what inspired you to? What message do you want to get out to people who watch that video?
Do you know what? It's been so long since we've been able to play, since we've had any hope and optimism for getting back to it. And it's obvious. It seems like it's a big thing over there in the US as well, but over here it's massive. And there's so many people involved in grassroots sports, not just football or soccer as you would call it, but grassroots sports of all kinds. And as you well know, it's not just the players, it's the parents, it's the families, it's the communities. There's so many people involved in it. And it was just a bit of a feeling that we finally got some optimism and some hope with having a date announced when it could return. That it just sort of came really quickly. It's been a frustrating year and a bit for everybody, obviously, for a lot of different reasons. And there's more important things. Well, I nearly said there's more important things than football then, but we know that's not quite true, don't we?
Yeah, don't put that crap on this show, man.
Yes, exactly. But it's on its way back, and it just felt like we had a little bit of hope, a little bit of optimism, and that's where it came from, because it means so much, not just to the kids, but to everybody involved.
If we put a little beat to that and we got that to Simon Cowell, I think you got a gold record there on your hand. I do.
He's not allowed anywhere near it.
Do you write music too?
No, I don't know. I do a lot of other stuff, a lot of other poetry, a lot of other spoken word stuff. But to be honest, football's my number one passion, and so putting the two together just made sense.
Yeah. What I want to say about the lockdown there in England, is the light at the end of the tunnel? Did you say it's going to be a couple more months before? Yeah,
I mean, it's still in a pretty terrible situation, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. We've got dates announced for when the country should be going back to what, to all intents and purposes, what might be considered normal. So the sort of middle of June, 21st of June is the date where everything will be open back up. So weddings and all the pubs and everything will be back to normal. But until then, with Grassroots starting, we'll have 3 or 4 months of football. Midweek games, weekend games. So for the lads, especially my lads at Hyde United under 15s and everybody at Hyde United, it's they're just looking forward to it so much. But you know what? There's people that at my club that deserve a mention. So that the juniors chairman is a bloke called Martin Coyne, and his partner Ange, who is the secretary, and then another friend of mine, Danny Seddon, who have just kept everything going, all the way through. And we've got other coaches. There's a bloke called Johnny who's just been running and raising money for the club, raising money for the junior section. And that's just one club. That's my club. That's replicated in every single Grassroots team across the country and then across the world as well.
Well, you're an inspirational guy for sure, Colin. And listen, Ryan Hodgson said Colin would love to see a pre-game spoken word motivational talk, mate. I think everybody should be listening to this. It should go viral big time, and anything we could do to help, it'd be great.
Well, thanks. It's kind of. I'm not sure whether the lads in my under 15s team would agree.
That's a great age. That's my favorite age to coach, actually, 14, 15s, and this is so receptive. My experience at that age. We're just going to look at a couple of people who are checking out the show here. I'm going to pop up a couple of messages from some of the comments or compliments or whatever it is.
Cool.
Okay, so here we go.
It's going back to Pele.
It's all right. There you go. Tyrone Tolliver, great TV, great show. Love the soccer coaches. Thank you, Tyrone. I mean, look, you got a lot of things you could probably do today instead of watching our talk show, but really appreciate you coming in. We're going to try and keep it funky fresh every week. We're learning as we go along, right, Marcus?
Yes, Greener. Always learning.
I mean, but one thing that we can promise you, the audience, we don't want to waste your time. We want to have fun. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But, we're trying to get a blend of, being lighthearted, have a laugh, have some fun, but also give some educational tips or maybe some life experiences to young coaches out there. And, we get people who watch this from all over the world, United States, UK, India, Pakistan, Africa, all over the world, coaches from different backgrounds, different levels of experience. And we'll love your feedback, any questions you've got, any emails, anything like that. That'd be great.
Hey, Colin, I tell you what, I have a 6-year-old son, right? And he's online right now all year. So every day he sits in front of a computer for 5 hours a day at 6 years old. And I started a local rec soccer program. So we're for me personally and for him to get out there, we have a date of April 10th when it's going to start. Yeah, I know what you mean when it means the world to you and the world to the kids. And I run a university team, but I'm more excited to go out in the field with my 6-year-old than I am to coach my university team. Even though I love my university team, don't get me wrong, but I really want to see the 6-year-olds run around.
Hey,
Yeah,
Marcus.
I get that.
Go ahead, Colin.
Yeah, I was just going to say I get that, and like it's been brilliant to come on the show, and it's been played on the radio a couple of times. But like just to touch on that what you said, I got a message or a comment, I think it was, from a mum who said that her son had been playing on his Xbox since Christmas, and he'd not touched the ball, and then he didn't even watch the video, but he heard the video as she was playing it on her phone, and he ran upstairs and he put his brand new football boots on, and then he was out in the garden with the ball, and that was like, just for that one reaction, that was worth, it was worth putting it onto video.
For one you hear about, Colin, I'll tell you, one you hear about, there's 50 who you don't hear about who have the same reaction, or 100 or 1,000. Marcus, question to you from Dasher123, and is D3 college soccer camp worth it just for one day for 3 hours? Is it worth going?
Yeah, any college soccer camp is worth going. And for me, especially if the kid's in high school and wants to go to that school, that's awesome. Go and have the coach take a look.
It's $100. Would you
Great.
spend 100? Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Hey,
can I jump on that one as well?
Yeah, of course.
We had a course offered over here, believe it or not. I'm not going to name names, but there was an ex-Premier League footballer involved, and they offered a course. It was about £8,000, 8,000 English pounds for a 6-week course. Almost promising for to go to Premier League football. It was only offered to international students. So I'll let you work out whether you think that one's worth it or not, because it got a bit of a backlash.
Yeah, I would think so.
It's all relative, really. So there's people out there are going to pay it. It's if you've got that kind of money to throw away, it's £8,000 to you and me might mean like $1 to somebody else. I was at a director at a all sports camp for a couple of years. I used to go in as a director of soccer and coach soccer there, and that camp was about 20 grand to go to the camp. But most of the kids going there were from hedge fund people in New York City. They wanted to get out of the city for 2 or 3 weeks in the summer. I guess it's all relative, but Sid Sharp, he's listening. He's my former coach in England. He's Wall's End Boys Club. Great. I mean, you know how I feel about mentors. Everybody's got to have one, right, Marcus? And he was my mentor. I can tell you stories about this guy, man. He looked after me thick and thin. Used to bring me dinner, lunch when I was sick. I mean, this guy went way beyond anything. Him and Peter Kirkley, who got me started in football. And let's have a look. David Courtney, what teams do you guys follow? Fellow United supporter here, Colin. So you're the two, right?
Manchester United, but the main one is Hyde United. Just near Manchester. Hyde United. That's up the Tigers.
Marcus?
I'm an Arsenal fan, so I'm happy we finally won today.
Yeah. Newcastle till I die. 2-0 on me, man.
Are they in the 3rd division, Newcastle, or where are they?
I'll come over there and give you a beatdown. There'll be 2 hits in the fight. Me hitting you and you hitting the ground. I'll roll you out like a red carpet, son. I will sink you like a 6-foot putt if you talk to Newcastle that way.
All right, sorry.
Don't even go down there. You wouldn't last 5 minutes in Newcastle, Marcus, on a Friday night. They would eat you up, man.
Listen,
eat you up and chew you out.
I love it. Did you ever see that photo of that Brazilian lady dribbling on the beach, and then everybody writes underneath, would she be able to juggle the ball like that at Stoke on a Tuesday night in the rain?
What's that?
Greener, you got to listen to me.
I'm sorry. I was checking Barry Temple.
No, it's like what everybody loves to say is like, there's a video of this lady in Brazil juggling a ball. And then, the British guys go underneath there and write, yeah, could she do that on Tuesday night at Stoke City in the rain?
There's some great humor. Hey, I'm going to contact this guy, Dave Thomas, his name is, and he wrote to me yesterday from Thailand. Okay, he coaches out in Thailand. I hadn't had a chance to email him back yet, but I will today. And he's from Newcastle, and I think I remember him from donkeys years ago. But he's done really well. But I was looking at the website about some information on him. He wrote this book, and it's 800 soccer quotes. 800 quotes from football. I can't wait to read it. And what not just coaches say, but sportscasters,
Greener, I think somebody's calling you there.
Yeah, that's the fan line, It's the
fan line. It's like
fan line. Barry says, look at Leicester City. The year they won the EPL, not the best players, but played a system that worked.
Oh, Colin, what do you think there? I think they were pretty good players at Leicester City that cost a lot of money.
Yeah, look where some of them went. You know, Kante left into Chelsea. Mahrez went to City. Maguire wasn't there yet, was he? Yeah, Jamie Vardy's still there, but you know, like
what a player.
I know, yeah. Do you know he came through the sort of grassroots, going back to the point of it. He came from grassroots. He played non-league football and sort of went a really unconventional route. You know, worked really, really hard to get where he was. Not that everybody doesn't work really, really hard, but his route was like, you know, it wasn't paved with like academies and stuff. He put the graft in and went through the non-league route.
Well, Colin, the funny thing about Jamie Vardy is he actually signed up for a college placement service, I heard, to come to the U.S.
Right.
Thank God he didn't come to the U.S. because he's, you know.
Yeah, brilliant. But yeah, that's brilliant.
Greener, you had Andrew Muxworthy on not too long ago talking about, you know, in England, you're kind of done, right? Call him around 19 years old if you don't get signed. And he's just like saying that some of the players that do come to the U.S., you know, that developmental window is too short. And some of them really flourish in college soccer, then go back and have a career for themselves.
Yeah, that's a whole different show that we can do a show on that. I mean, I've probably spent a couple of $1 million on players on scholarships over my 35-year career as a Division I coach. And, you know, the problem is we get into this ridiculous era of recruiting here in the US where we give kids, you know, ridiculous amounts of money for scholarships, and we just watch them on a, you know, half-hour video, if that, on YouTube. You know, I mean, we don't have the resources to fly to Brazil or fly to England. You know, some of the top programs do, but most of the schools don't. So you're making your judgments on a great video, maybe a couple of phone calls. Tells you nothing about his personality, nothing, you know, about really who he is. Can you imagine Spurs signing somebody on a 10-minute video? Or, you know, it's just ridiculous.
Listen, Green, I had a friend who's a baseball coach. He signed a kid, and the kid got off the plane coming to go to school, and it wasn't him. It wasn't him. It wasn't any good.
You know what? The Connecticut Wolves had a pro team one time, and the head coach at the time was a friend of mine. He went to England to watch this game in England of guys who wanted to play. These were pros, you know?
Yeah.
And he didn't talk to the player, he talked to the coach. He says, you know, who's your number 3 or something like this? And so he wrote his name down. So he offered him a pro contract in the USL over the phone. He called the guy, had a conversation with the guy that talked several times.
Yeah.
He went to pick him up at the airport, and walks up the plane, and who are you?
That's awesome.
The guys was wearing a different jersey. It wasn't a proper name on the jersey. He had somebody else's jersey on, and he had to honor his contract. They had to pay him. Unbelievable. You got to do your homework, guys. This is it. With overtime as it is, we're supposed to do 30 minutes. We've gone on. Hey, first of all, big thank you to the people who took the time to watch the show today, or who will watch it later on after it's archived. We appreciate it. Colin, thank you for coming in and sharing your passion.
Yeah, it was good meeting you
with us. Marcus, thank you so much, man. Welcome to knowledge. We'll be back next week with something absolutely totally different. Should we tell them, or should we just wait?
No. Let Juan reveal it.
Should we bring one ball? Should we bring one ball back? Did you see one ball early on the show, Colin?
Yeah, I saw you. My little girl saw as well.
Yeah. So one will be back next week and some more interesting stuff. So thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. So we're on our way out. We'll play our exit video. Colin, stay in touch with me, my friend. Okay?
Will do. Take care. Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
No
Up the Tigers. Up the Tigers.
Tune on me.
Soccer Coach TV, where coaches live.